many times that they feel comfortable enough to put their arm up there, because it feels a bit risky for him. So just keep that in mind. It's not always the case that you're going to have to beat that arm. A lot of times that the arm's just going to be down by your waist. Now, Kyle keeps the inside. He drives hard. As he's driving, the foot goes on the hip to maintain that angular advantage. This leg clamps on, and now we are combing his hair with the inside of my quad. Let's try to avoid kicking this leg nice and wide. It's not a problem. It's just going to be a difficult arm lock, because as I start this mechanism, or that movement, he's going to feel the arm lock coming. And then he's going to yank his arm out. Now, that's not a problem because we're going to go into the trap triangle. But if I want the arm, we need to think about my quad bringing the elbow through to the center line. Now, there are also two versions of locking that arm lock up. There's one where we go straight to the arm, which is kind of what I'm a fan of, to be honest, in this situation. Or there's a second one, when we lock up a top lock first, take the arm out, and now we've got top lock on the far side, and then we transition. So both are amazing, and if I didn't have the guard locked, if this was just a scenario where I was only going Jujigatami, I would go top lock first generally. But because the guard this frame is locked and he is driving and his arm is extended, I generally go straight to the elbow first. But both are winning concepts, right? The top lock is going to give you much more security on your position. This is going to be a little bit more, I won't say speed, but definitive fact that I'm going on the arm as it's extended. We'll keep an elbow deep just momentarily until the extension happens, and then we roll the hand down and we keep the palm up and we bring that arm into our bottom hip. One thing that you guys can do that's going to help you out is pay attention. I like to focus on my left hip in these Jujigatamis and triangles as well. I like to say that this hip needs to stay a relative 90 degrees or slightly more on its angle. What I mean by that is that's about 90. If you can see right here. If I let that hip angle collapse as Kyle drives his head in, I'm now letting my hip angle collapse. It's going to be difficult to extend his arm when he's stacking me. If I keep the hip angle 90 and I keep my legs relatively, one on just the head and one coming up near the top of the shin biting down, if I keep this relative 90, as he stacks me, can you go ahead and stack me pretty hard, Kyle? Drive up. You see what happens as he stacks me? That his arm stays extended. And what that also does is it gives me the room I need to start moving underneath people, right? And looking for different sweeping systems. If my hip angle decreases like this, he smashed hit my knee to my nose, I run out of space. And so now to get underneath guys, it's gonna feel heavy. And I'm gonna have to win that space back. And you can bounce guys around to gain that space, get under, gain that space, get under. But I don't want to have to do that. So when we hit that arm lock, it's important that as your leg goes over, you try to maintain that hip to be a 90 degree or slightly more angle with of course, you must have back heeling in your heels, your legs need to be tight. That's going to help you guys have space. So if you are countered, you can sweep, you can go back to the triangle relatively easy, and you have some life there. I think that's just going to help your arm lock mentality, period. Let's go one more time. We'll focus on the legs. So we have our far side arm lock. We had the guard locked up with any of those mechanisms that we took a look at earlier, clearing the head with the elbow, clearing the head with that head pummel, and I got the insides. Now Kyle drives hard, and just one key component here is when you do lock the arm, remember, these legs, they need to back heel. I need to keep this 90, and then we'll turn the palm to the ceiling and start to bring the elbow to the bottom hip a little. Not excessive, but there is definitely a small movement to bring it to that bottom hip with the palm up, and you'll have a very tight arm. This attack, I think, is unique to this guard right here because of the way the frame works, the way the inside tie works, and the way his drive works is going to put him in an arm lock with really very, very little opportunity to counter except for yanking his arm out. And if you have the arm get yanked out, like I mentioned before, you have the option to go to top lock, or you have the option to go to trap triangle. So one more time to take a look at that. So if Kyle were to feel and he yanked his arm out, say he yanked his arm out once. Now this time, can you drive back in? I'll get arm lock. This time, if he already knew that the arm lock was coming, well, this time I might want to top lock him. The benefit of the top lock is, if he tries to yank his arm out, it isn't coming. He is so stuck. So there's a rebound effect that comes. Now, when you top lock, you can take the arm out. Again, this arm starts to become more in your way under your leg than beneficial. So if you go to a top lock, take the arm out. It's a good idea that this leg is on the bottom from a top lock. And like I said, there's always like a little rebound. So watch Kyle try to yank his body. Can you yank your arm out of there? Now you see his head come back down. So he went out, back in. That's the time. On the rebound is the time to attack the arm. So as he tries to yank his arm out, there's that. There's a relaxation, and then there's an arm lock. Okay, so if